Supply under GST. We covered few aspects in the previous class, and finally we completed supply without consideration will also be considered as supply, which is listed in schedule number 1. Subsection 1A is all about classification of a supply, whether supply will be considered as a supply of services or goods. This classification is given in more detailed format in schedule number 2. So in this class we'll start with schedule number 2. You can easily guess whether it's a goods or services, but anyhow there's a list to clarify some of the doubts, right? Schedule number 2. Number 1 is all about transfer. Transfer of title in goods, rights in goods, transfer of title in future date. Transfer of title in goods is nothing but supply of goods, rights in goods, supply of services. Title transfer at the future date will fall under supply of goods. See, for example, Mr. A sells his book to a customer. Hereafter, the customer has every right to use that book as he wishes. Whether he uses or he throws it off, doesn't matter. The entire ownership is now transferred from Mr. A to his customer, then it's called supply of goods. Right in goods is nothing but right to use only. You have to use it for temporary purpose and you have to return it later. Then it's a rental like hire. Mr. A rents a car. Rental is not transfer of goods. It's only transfer of usage rights. If I am not transferring the goods, only usage right is transferred, then it's called supply of services. And I agreed to transfer the goods not today, 3 or 4 months later, future dated. Okay, but I collect the money today itself with the guarantee that I will deliver the goods in a matter of 3 or 4 months later. Then also it will be falling under supply of goods. So, first aspect, transfer. In transfer, 3 aspects are covered. One is title in goods, supply of goods. Right in goods, named as supply of services, SOS, supply of services. Again, title. Whenever title transfer, it is supply of goods only. Whether the title in goods transferred today or future dated, whatever it may be, that will fall under transfer of goods only. Title in goods example, Mr. A sells a book to customer, and title in goods, the example being renting of a car. In case of transfer of title later day, hire purchase, sale on return basis. So you purchase the goods by paying installments. Ownership is transferable only after the final payment. Until that time, you are not going to be the owner. Yet it will be considered as transfer of goods, supply of goods only. Even in case of sale on return basis, you just use it. If you are not satisfied, you return it. If you are satisfied, let me know. Then I will fix this as a sale. Also be considered as supply of goods. Whenever it is all about land and building, renting, leasing, whatever it may be, will fall under supply of services only. This will be always supply of services. Okay, either it may be land or building or both. Transfer of land and building will not come under GST at all, because property will not be goods here. As property is not goods, it will not come under GST. GST will not be leviable for that. And of course, you may pay the stamp duty registration fees all. So here, whenever it's a land and building related, majority cases it is supply of services only. In case of land, you can give your land under lease to somebody else to use it for a longer period, or you can let it out, means you can ask somebody else to occupy this as a tenancy. Easement license These are the variants of the lease only. No need to worry about the technical terminologies here. In all these cases, will be coming under supply of services only. A rents land for parking, and in case of building, lease or letting out. Lease or letting out also be coming under supply of services only. Shop rental and pagadi system. A license amount will be payable, and you can occupy the property for say 50 years or 100 years, like generation they will be occupying only because of the advance amount paid. That advance amount will be called as pagadi system. Usually it will be applicable in the markets, okay, local markets. The market space is very uh, costly, not available for sale. Maybe it is in the hands of the government, okay. So the government will give the land for the vendors for occupying their own shops for a consideration. As I get the chance to occupy rental, I can transfer my rental means opportunity to somebody else for a price. That price is called pagadi. That price is called pagadi. I'm not actually transferring the property. I'm transferring my rights to be tenant there. Okay, I'm the tenant here. Now you can become tenant here. Okay, I'll just connect the landlord with you. Give me a small amount for this transfer of tenancy rights. So that's called pagadi system. All these things will fall under supply of services. Supply of services. And third one is all about treatment or processing. Any treatment or processing will always be falling under supply of services. Supply of services. So I have manufactured a table. Okay, I have manufactured a table. Okay, so table is manufactured, and I want to make some designs in the table legs or maybe in the top tabletop. Some designs may be done by wood carving, like job work. It may be sent outside for a job work using the lathe machines. The designs are engraved on the top of the table, and for that they charge some money. Now, the job work done on this table is called some treatment on our product supplied. That will be always considered as supply of services. If I manufacture the table and sell the table, then it's coming under supply of goods. Already I have the table, I send the table for engraving some designs over the top of the table. That will be considered as supply of services. Okay. So, Mr. A dyes clothes for a client. Okay. Cloth already I have. I am now dyeing that cloth only. I am dyeing the cloth. Is that okay? So dyeing is one more treatment on the material supplied by the client. Any treatment or job work done on any material will be coming under supply of services only. Is that clear? And liquor job work is also covered under GST. Okay, usually liquor is not falling under GST. Clear. So currently petrol, liquor and all alcoholic liquor for human consumption is not falling under GST currently. It is taxed a totally different manner by the state government, maybe sin tax like, but it is not covered here. But any job work done for the liquor business will be subject to GST. Subject to GST. For example, the bottle making and naming over the bottle and the cap and all, those things are now outsourced. Some job work is done over those products. That will be under GST only. Is that okay? But liquor sales and liquor manufacture will not come under GST. Is that okay? Liquor job work covered under GST. Though the liquor itself is not taxable. Liquor itself is not taxable, but any job work done on the bottle and the naming and whatever it may be packing will be coming under GST. Hope you'll be now able to understand. Schedule number 2 is all about classification of the supply. One is all about goods. Title transfer, future date, but right to use. These are the 3. In case of land and building, always land and building will fall under supply of services only. Treatment or processing will also be falling under supply of services only. Is that clear? Second set. 3 predominant sets we have. So up to 6 numbers we have to understand. In second set, okay, transfer of business assets. Okay, transfer of business asset. Clear. See, supplier and XYZ company. He purchases a laptop, okay, for his business purpose. For his business purpose. And if he purchases anything for his business purpose on payment of GST, he can get the GST back as ITC. As ITC, am I right? And so for the business persons, whenever they purchase any material which is going to be used as an input for any finished goods supposed to be produced, any GST paid on that will be claimable from the government as ITC, input tax credit. So actually, if I'm going to purchase the laptop for my personal consumption, I have to pay more GST. The price will be more. For the business purpose, the GST is refundable, so the price may be cheaper for them. So stating that I purchase this laptop or any assets only for the business purpose, using this for business purpose, I can produce an output where while selling the output, I'll pay the GST further. So the government thinks, okay, I'm refunding. Anyhow, you will be paying later on while selling the finished goods. With that intention, government gives a refund. Okay, that's a logic behind. That's a logic behind. Suppose if you are disposing this, okay, how you can simply dispose this to somebody else as a donation. Okay, donation. Okay, you can dispose this as a donation to some charitable institutions, or you can allow it to use for personal purpose. Okay, personal use. Clear? So this discount is available. The laptop is 50,000 rupees, GST 9,000 rupees. Government refunds this 9,000 rupees. Considering that anyhow you will be manufacturing some goods, for that you will be ultimately paying the GST. So I am going to give the refund for this. But provided this asset should be used only for the production of the finished goods, you should not misuse it. But after the purchase and for the business purpose, later on, if you are transferring that to non-business purpose, even free of cost, even a small consideration, this will be falling under supply of goods only. But if you are transferring this to some other personal purpose, probably X being the owner, okay, Y, son of Mr. X, demands I need the means laptop to use for a month's period as I do the college work. Immediately transfers the laptop from his office to his personal purpose. To the 1 month requirement, it is used for the personal purpose, that will be also considered as supply. Supply of what? Supply of service, because ownership is not transferred. Ownership is not transferred. Okay, what are the nominal value for the 1 month usage? If it is let out to third party, will be the consideration on the GST will be payable to the government. Okay, clear? So any asset you purchase for manufacturing any taxable finished goods, any GST paid on the input goods can be refundable, subject to some conditions. We'll study that later on, subject to some conditions. Okay, provided that asset or that input, whatever it may be, should be used only for the manufacturing the finished goods. If you are not using it for the manufacturing of the finished goods, automatically it is misused, or you have to refund the GST claimed, means ITC claimed, you have to refund. So when the asset moves out, any business asset moves out from the business other than by way of a sale, whatever it may be, considered as a supply of goods, or it is allowed to use somebody else for their personal use, not for the business use, and that will be considered as supply of services. Clear? Transfer of business asset. Business asset disposed with or without consideration, doesn't matter. With or without consideration, doesn't matter. Gifting business laptop like, or donating the business laptop like, will be coming under supply of goods. And business asset is now transferred for the private use, will be coming under supply of services. Okay, example, using business laptop for personal use is a nice example for the supply of services here. Clear? So transfer of business asset. Transfer of business asset. We have completed these two. Now, who has to pay the GST? usually the supplier being the registered person and supplying the taxable goods or services, then he has to pay the GST. Okay, taxable person on supplying of taxable supply, on supplying of goods or services which attracts the tax, then automatically GST will be there. Then who is called taxable person? Who registered under section 22 or 24 of the GST. Registered person is called taxable person. As per section 22 and 24, especially I'll confine with section 22. Okay, if your threshold, the sales turnover exceeds certain limit, say 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 40 lakhs, depending upon the situations and scenario, and whether it's a goods or services or both within Tamil Nadu or other states, based on that the limit is totally different. We'll study all those things along with the registration chapter under section 22. Okay. So, if my transaction value is less than 20 lakhs, in general sense, it's 20 lakhs. My transaction limit is less than 20 lakhs means I no need to register. I need not to pay GST. Is that clear? Let's see the scenario here. A does taxable supplies for the previous year only 15 lakhs. I assume the threshold limit being 20 lakhs. So, if this is less than the threshold limit, right? So, registration not required. Registration not required. As registration not required, what happens here? He is not being the taxable person. What about the GST payable? No, no GST is payable. Suppose B, who is also supplying, which is falling under the taxability under GST, his overall transaction value is 25 lakhs, which is not less than or equal to 20 lakhs. So, he should be a registered person. He should be a registered person and he becomes taxable person. Assume that the GST rate being 10% for the simplified calculation purpose. So, for the 25 lakhs, 10% being 2.5 lakhs will be the GST payable by him. GST payable by him. Is that okay? So, if your transaction is less than 20 lakhs, you no need to pay the GST. If your transaction is more than 20 lakhs in a year, you have to register and you have to start pay the tax immediately. Once you register year after year, you are supposed to pay the GST only for all the supplies. All the supplies. Is that clear? Now, from the supplier, he purchased an item for 10 lakhs. On this, GST is say 1 lakh rupees. GST rupees 1 lakh. Now, question is, will A be able to get this refunded? Can he claim the ITC? No, sir. Unless he is paying the GST for the finished goods, he is not able to claim the GST on the input tax. Means GST paid on inputs. And in this case, from the supplier 10 lakhs, GST paid is 1 lakh. Now his finished goods is subject to GST and GST payable is 2.5 lakhs. So he can get this 1 lakh back. 1 lakh back. Clear? So the same commodity sold. A also sells the same goods which is subject to GST. B also sells the same commodity subject to GST. But A's turnover is less than 20 lakhs, requires no registration, is not taxable person, so he is not required to pay the tax for the output. Provided for the input while purchasing, he might have paid the GST, no, he cannot get it back. He cannot get it back. In case of B, he supplies where his total turnover is more than 20 lakhs, he is a registered person. He should register, he is a registered person, he has to pay the GST for the output goods. As he is supposed to pay the GST and the output goods, any goods he purchases for the sale of the commodity. Here, GST paid on that can be refundable in the name of ITC. Okay. So, A has no chance to claim and B has a chance to claim the ITC. The ITC amount can be adjusted, balance 1.5 lakhs is payable by B. Clear? Hope you will be now able to understand. So, who is called taxable person? The person who registered under section 22 or 24. Okay, why he registers? There's a condition. Usually, for the better understanding, we will have 20 lakhs threshold limit. Of course, variations are also there. We'll study later on. Clear? Okay. Now, A supplies goods rupees 30 lakhs in the previous year 24-25. We don't have the previous year current year status here, only 24-25. 24-25. Okay. A taxable supply 30 lakhs. In the year 25-26, okay, so for that GST is payable how much? Assume 3 lakhs. If he gets any input, GST on that, so input being 10 lakhs and GST on this being 1 lakh, this 1 lakh he can get ITC back. Clear? But the year 25-26, A again supplies the taxable goods, but he predicts that this year the business is very dull. The overall transaction will not go beyond 15 lakhs. So his estimated total sales being less than or equivalent to only 15 lakhs. Already he is being the registered person, he has to pay the GST. But now he demands, sir, I don't have the business size equivalent to 20 lakhs. I no need to pay the tax, but being the registered person, I have to pay the tax. Kindly give me waiver. I will now cancel my registration. So he is being the registered person due to this turnover. In this year, his turnover is not even reaching the stipulated amount, and he requests us to cancel his registration. He can simply cancel the registration. Clear? If he cancels whatever the supply he does, output service, okay, supply, okay. And what about the GST on this, sir? No GST will be applicable, not applicable, because he surrendered. He surrendered the registration certificate. Is that clear? See, if you are being the registered person, you are eligible for getting the ITC. If you are being not registered person, you are not eligible for the ITC. In this case, he is a registered person earlier year, becomes unregistered person in the current year. Right. Now what happens, out of this 10 lakhs, around 4 lakhs remains still unused. What does it mean? Out of 10 lakhs, 6 lakhs for non-taxable supply. If he is going to supply which is subject to taxability, then he is eligible for ITC. If he is supplying non-taxable goods, then automatically he is not eligible for ITC. But stating I am taxable person, he gets the ITC. Later on, he surrenders the registration certification. Now says, I don't want to pay GST. And the availed ITC should be refundable, If he fails to refund, then it is also violation. Clear? Hope you will be now able to understand the logic behind these two. Being the registered person, you enjoy the ITC. The next moment you surrendered, and after the enjoying the ITC, all the materials now you are using for your finished goods, means that cheating only, Clear? So, if you are being the registered person and purchasing any asset, later on cancellation of registration certification, it is presumed that the asset you purchase for the registered person is now transferred from registered person to unregistered person. Those two persons are different, okay. So now A registered person, A unregistered person. So I am differentiating the same person. Up to the previous year end, he was a registered person. Now he is an unregistered person. He purchases the asset when he was in registration status, 10 lakhs. For that, he claimed the ITC for this 1 lakh. Now he uses this asset after he becomes unregistered person. Means you are transferring the asset from registered person to unregistered person. You don't argue, sir. Both. This is also A, sir. This is also A. No, no, no. This A is a registered person. This A is an unregistered person. The assets are there only in the same factory, but the factory status earlier registration with a registration certificate. Now the status is without registration certificate. Okay, in that case, it is presumed that the asset is transferred from registered person to unregistered person. Automatically, the GST, this will be considered as supply of goods. Supply of goods. Clear? Business ceases. Unsold stock deemed supply. The moment when the business ceases or cancelled or surrenders, that unsold stock, whatever it may be, considered as deemed supply. Sir, I didn't supply the stock, sir. That's available in the godown itself. The assets are available in the factory itself. Doesn't matter. While you procure, you had registration certificate, you avail the GST, ITC and the GST. But now you cancel. You cancel means all the assets you purchase or material you purchase remains unused or unsold in your factory, in your godown, becomes supply only. Supply of goods. Supply of goods. Understand? Now you have to pay the GST on this. Very interesting case. Unless transferred as a going concern or continued by the representative. Else you can sell your entire business to third party. Okay, A being the registered person. Okay, he sells his entire business to B, who now applies for registration and takes over this business and he cancels his registration. In that case, okay, the entire business is now taken care by B, a new registered person. In this case, it's accepted. But if you are cancelling and stopping your business or becoming unregistered person, automatically, whatever the assets or stocks you purchased, being the registered person and enjoy the ITC, remains unused or unsold. The moment you are converting yourself into the unregistered person will be considered as supply. Will be considered as supply. Clear? Predominantly business asset. It is not only applicable for the business asset, it may be applicable for the stocks also. Fourth, all these things are supply of goods, but use means supply of services. This will be similar to transfer. And fifth one, all these items are supply of services. Okay, all these things. One is renting of immobile property. Another one is IPR transfer, intellectual property right. So if I am purchasing the Windows software for a consideration, Office or Tally software, all these things are IPR, even IT software services and licenses. So in all these cases, will be considered as supply of services only. IPR, intellectual property rights, temporary use permission, IPR transfer. IT software services, IT development, design, customization, IT development, design, customization, etc. IT software services. And tolerate or refrain. Tolerate or refrain. Already we have studied on consideration. That toleration and refraining any activity will also be considered a supply of services, like non-compete fee, penalties for contract breaches. Okay, contract breaches. So A, the contractor agrees to finish the work within 3 months to the contractee, but 3 months becomes 4 months. Immediately contractee demands a compensation. So for that a penalty is payable. That penalty will come under supply of services. But legal violation, if anything happens, for that any penalty is paid. Vehicles parked in no parking and speed violation. In those cases, if you are paying the penalty, that will not come under GST at all, not a supply. But here it will be supply. Okay. Right to use of anything like car hire, all these things are considered as supply of services. Clear? Supply of services. Now, we'll deal with building construction in detail. Building construction in detail. Right. Builder builds and constructs the flats. Okay, constructs the flats. After construction, okay, offers for sale. A comes and picks this particular flat. Okay, so Mr. C, contractor, completed this flat, got completion certification also. So if you construct the property, whatever it may be, residential house property, building, whatever it may be, after completion, you have to apply for getting certification for the completion from the municipality or corporations or metro. They will come and inspect and certify that the building is completed. Now it's fit for living. So only then it can be saleable. It can be saleable. So now Mr. C gets a certification also that it is fit for survival. Okay. Now A comes and selects one of the flats and makes the payment. This will be outside the scope of GST. This will not come under GST. Okay, because it's an immovable property. So GST will be leviable only on supply of goods or services. This is a property. Property is immovable. Anything immovable will not fall under GST. So then what happens, sir? Here will not they pay any tax, sir? No, they will pay state tax, registration tax. Now, Mr. C, rather than constructing, he develops a plan and showing the plan, and he asks the various buyers to book the flats. They will give the specification. This is the format I supposed to construct. And A chooses, I need a flat to be constructed in the 4th floor or 5th floor as per this specification. I release the payment installment one by one while booking small amount. Thereafter started construction. By the time small amount, later on allotment. So as per A's instruction, Mr. C modifies and completes the entire construction of this flat for A's requirement. Now the completion of certification is not done yet. The transfer happens beforehand. Then it is an immovable asset. So though it is an immovable asset, contractor C acts as per the request of A. Sir, I want a flat size 1000 square feet and kitchen size so much, and it should be modular kitchen and all. As per his direction, I am working for him. It means I am giving my expertise engineering service for his own requirement. It is only supply of services. Is that okay? If part payment is released before getting the completion certificate from the municipality or corporation, then this will come under supply of services, but payment is done only after the completion of construction certification. Then it will not come under GST. It will not come under GST. Is that clear? This will come under GST. That too, SOS will come. Clear? Schedule number 2, it's much easier. You can understand easily. Few points extra to be noted here being this right in goods and this part I explained you in detail, and this part. Rest you can guess easily. There will not be any complications in this particular concept. And composite supply. The supply involves not only goods, sometimes it involves goods as well as services both. I cannot say it is only goods or it is only services. Then how can I decide, sir? So in that case, in these two cases, it is always assumed to be supply of service only. Work contract and catering. So when the marriage function or a get-together is organized, immediately you order food in a restaurant. That restaurant committed to supply the food prepared live kitchen at the restaurant, means function venue itself. Is that okay? So the restaurant team comes and they sets the cooking and other things here, and serving also be done at the function area itself, right? Where the food and other things are goods, but if you think the idli may be 20 rupees in restaurant, but here they will charge around 40 rupees. Why that 40 rupees, another 20 rupees extra is for service. It will have the service component. Okay, the price is higher. So once I went for, I have gone for a restaurant, means function in Chennai. Okay, the dinner alone costs us around 2000 rupees per leaf. I was in diet. I'll have only 2 idlis. I asked them, you just convert that 2000 rupees in currency and give to me rather than giving me this buffet dinner tonight. So anyhow, no, no, no. You have to eat the dinner itself, here itself. So 2000 rupees per leaf. So the service component is higher, okay, than the material component. Because of that reason, whenever it is a catering, no doubt it will be considered as supply of service. Sir, there is small itli, sir, doesn't matter. It will be only supply of service. Then what about work contract? Work contract falls under supply of services also. I want to do false ceiling or small interior decoration, or I want to install some interior, means modular kitchen in my kitchen. Of course, you can do all these things. That will also be coming under supply of services. There may be some material component and engineering component is also there. Engineering component being supply of services, material being supply of goods. But anyhow, it is non-dividable, build collectively, composite manner. Then this composite supply, these two will always be considered as supply of services only. Clear? Hope now you'll be able to understand schedule number 2 here. Any doubts here? One second. Okay. Now, let's see. Before I further proceed with this chapter, let me finish up some of the examples, some of the definitions. Now, we'll start with consideration. Section 2, clause 31, consideration. Okay. Supplier, recipient. Supply happens between these two parties. S supplies to R, and R has to make a payment. That is called consideration. Definitions are listed in the first chapter itself as per the section sequence, right? This may be monetary payment and non-monetary payment also. Non-monetary payment also. And some exclusions also we have. These are the 3 aspects you have to cover here. Money that you will know very easily. Okay, maybe cash, whatever it may be. And in case of non-monetary, any action also be considered as non-monetary. The money is worth for the actions carried over by recipient. S supplies the goods and demands R to do some activity on behalf of S. Then money is worth of that activity will be the consideration. Already we have studied in earlier classes. R forbearances. Forbearances. Okay. So I will give this consideration. You should not do that activity. You should not do that activity. Like Apollo Hospital and Dr. X, I explained. Apollo Hospital gives a consideration asking Dr. X not to operate private clinic. Okay. So that will be called as forbearances. The forbearances is now converted into money's worth. That will also be consideration. And what are called as exclusions, not to be includable as consideration? Any subsidies you receive, okay, from central or state government. If you are receiving the subsidy other than central or state government, that will be always forming part of the consideration only. But if the subsidies are received from the central or state government, not required to be addable. That can be excluded. Is that okay? For example, A sells the goods to B, probably stationery items, note. Okay. And for that, Government of India, central government, releases 10 rupees, asking B to pay only 30 rupees. So the supplier A gets how much? 30 plus 10, 40 rupees. What is the consideration here? What is the consideration here? For supplying the note, A will get 30 rupees from B and 10 rupees from the central government. Is that okay? Where? In case of solar panel. You might have seen lots of advertisement. If you install the solar panel, government will give you around 30% subsidy. Means whatever the fee may be, price may be, out of that 30% is released by the central government. Similarly, assume there is a stationery to be purchased for a school. It is also be there. While purchasing the stationery for the schools, central government or state government will give the subsidy. Okay, students will get at much discounted rate or free of cost. In case of LPG cylinder earlier, okay, the cylinder price may be 1000, but government gives 200 rupees, you pay the 800 rupees earlier, right? So 800 rupees you pay, 200 rupees government will pay. That's called subsidy. Now the question is, what is the consideration? Actual consideration A receives in this case being 30 plus 10, 40. Anyhow, for the GST purpose, 30 will be final, and for the 30 only GST is leviable. Clear? Only 30 is considered as consideration. You have to pay the GST only for 30. Clear? There may be lots of private organizations, entity, Tata, Birla. They too have their own foundation, Birla Foundation and Tata foundations and all. So they will now act as a donor, Birla Foundation. So whatever the material, stationery supplied by A to B, B may be an institution. Birla's foundation intimated to A, supply this, no problem. We will offer you 25% of the consideration. Sir, 40 rupees, sir. 10 rupees you'll take from me, 30 rupees you collect from the institutions. We are now offering from out of our CSR fund, whatever it may be. So like that, some third party also can give the subsidy. Now tell me, what's the consideration for A? A actually gets 30 rupees from the regular buyer and 10 rupees as a subsidy from third party. But in this case, the consideration is 30 plus 10, 40 rupees will be the consideration. Because Birla Foundation is a private, not central government or state government. In case of the subsidy received from the central government or state government, that will be excluded for the calculation of consideration. For the remaining value, you have to pay the GST. If the subsidy is received from non-government, then you have to add that also be a forming part of the value, and on that value, you have to pay the GST. Clear? Now, one more point I am going to discuss here is all about deposits. Deposits. Okay, why do we get the deposits? Why do we get the deposits? So if you are going for some big order to a restaurant, they'll ask for your advance money. Why? Should not cancel the order. So you order for, say, 100 foods to be delivered to our institution, sir. We are having a function. The moment they prepared, the next day you say, I don't want. Then what happens for the 100 food they prepared? So they will ask for at least 50% advance, sir. So if the advance is received, later on while final payment, that advance is adjustable. Adjustable. In that case, advance being forming part of the consideration. Okay. So, A, B. A will supply 100 food. Okay. Beforehand, B has already deposited, say, 50 rupees for food almost 5,000 rupees were already paid. 5,000 rupees already paid. After receiving the food, another 5,000 is paid. Now, what about the consideration value? 5,000 plus 5,000, 10,000 will be the value. Okay. In some other cases, okay, this amount is separate and consideration is separate. Advance is refundable. What happens in case of cool drinks? If you purchase a cool drinks, probably they will charge 50 rupees. Bottled cool drinks. Okay. So, they ask you to pay 50 rupees. Then they supplied the cold drinks. After returning the bottle, you'll get 30 rupees back. Isn't it? In case of boxes, there, no. So, they will demand extra money. Food price is only 20. The cool drinks is only 20. But when you purchase the cool drinks with the full bottle, okay, then they will demand at least pay me 50 rupees. Bottle is there. You are not who you are. The shopkeeper may not aware about who you are. So they demand 50 rupees. On returning the bottle, they will release the 30 rupees. In this case, you paid 50 rupees. Now, come on, tell me, is that 30 rupees is the deposit adjustable in the consideration? No, sir, it is refundable. The deposit could be either refundable or it may be adjusted in the consideration. If it is refundable, remove it. If it is adjusted, add that with the consideration. So we have two aspects here, refundable or adjustable with the consideration. In case of refundable, it's not part of consideration. In case adjustable with the consideration, it's part of the consideration only. Deposits usually excluded unless applied as a payment for supply. Okay, applied as a payment for the supply. If it is part of the payment for the supply, then it is going to be adjusted as a consideration. Clear? Let me explain here. Consideration refers to any payment or value received for the supply of goods or services, including monetary, non-monetary forms. Then you have to understand what is called monetary payment. Paid or payable. It may be outstanding also be considered as consideration. It's not required to be paid today itself. It may be in the form of cash or otherwise. By whom? By the recipient or by any other person. By the recipient or by any other persons. Is that okay? So, what's that meaning? So, here B being the buyer, but the payment is made by the Birla's foundation. Yet, this will also be forming part of the consideration. You purchase the commodity and your dad pays the money. So, also be considered as consideration is settled. And we have the non-monetary value. It includes two aspects, acts and forbearances. Act means for the supply you have done to me, I have to do some activities called actions. Forbearances means for the supply I receive, I should not do something. This is called forbearances. Agree not to do anything. Hope you will be now able to understand the consideration term. Now, agent. Already we studied this in the previous class. What's that? Principal, agent, and buyer. Principal sends the goods to A. Agent ultimately sends the goods to buyer, provided now the invoice is prepaid by A to his buyer's name. Then A is the agent. In this case, it is a sales agent. Reverse may also be true. Agent on behalf of the buyer or principal can get it from various persons. Okay, he is called procurement agent, auctioneer. So all the three categories are there: selling agent, procurement agent, and auctioneer. Agent. An agent is a person who acts on behalf of another in the business of supplying or receiving the goods or services. Not only supplying, receiving also. But invoice will be in his name. Invoice should be in his name. We have factor, broker, commission agent, arhatya, delegated agent, auctioneer, other mercantile agents by any name. These are the variants of agents we have. You no need to go in detail of all these things now. Right? So our focus is not to explain all this definition. So who are coming under agent, you need to understand that's more than enough. So Arhatya is village based or primary market based agents. Okay, the vegetable vendors and all will come under Arhatya. In case of factor, giving the responsibility to collect the money from third party. Okay, for a commission. So creditors, I mean credit card holders. Okay, credit card may be issued by third party. That third party is responsible for collecting the money. No, so they are called factor. And their primary function is representing the other party, means the principal in business transaction involving goods and services. That's all. This is what about the small term of agent. Now, you have to understand the term goods, supply of services and goods, A to B, supply of goods or services. Is that okay? Now you have to understand what will fall under goods, because I already told you immobile goods will not come, like property. House property will not be a goods. Then what will come in the goods? Usually all the mobile property will be called as goods. Every kind of mobile property. Is that okay? And includes actionable claim, growing crops. Okay, actionable claim, growing crops. But here we have conditions. Growing crops and grass. Now, what will not be includable? Money and security will not be includable. Money and security will not be falling under goods. Okay, if I sell the shares, okay, I have the TCS company shares 400 rupees. One share is 2000 rupees. I sell the share for 2000 rupees. Do you want to pay the GST for that? No, it will not be supply. It's not coming under supply of goods or supply of services. The main point to be noted here being growing crops and grass. In my land, I have the trees. Okay. Now, I sell this tree to buyer. Come on, tell me, is it movable or not? Trees are immobile. But because of the sales, the next day B will come and cuts and takes with him in lorry anyway. Okay. So though it seems to be immobile, because of the contract it is severed, means separated, or cut and packed and taken, means it is also goods. And in my land, grass are there. What about this? This one is also immobile, but I am allowing the bee to take this for feeding his own cattle, probably sheep or goat, whatever it may be. So, growing crops, grass, or anything attached and forming part of the land. Okay, that's okay. That's the first part. Provided, which are agreed to be severed. Severed means separated. Before supply, before actually he takes it out, or under a contract of supply. As per my contract, he has the rights to sever, then automatically it becomes goods. If I am selling the entire land along with the trees without cutting it, so I am selling the land and building, whatever the property there we have, along with the land, I am transferring. That will not come under goods. If I'm selling only the trees, he can sever that tree and can take it along with him, then it's coming under goods. Clear? And excludes money and securities. Excludes money and securities. Hope you'll be now able to understand. Hope you will be now able to understand. Growing crops, grass, or anything attached to the land will also be goods, provided if it is severed before sale, before supply. All kind of movable property, okay. What is called actionable claims, sir? A good example for the actionable claim is nothing but unsecured liability. Unsecured liability. If I have secured liability, okay, banker has lent the loan pledging the house property. If the borrower failed to pay, banker can attach the property, right? Clear? Similarly, vehicle loan. If the borrower failed to pay, banker can attach the vehicle. In case of unsecured loan, personal loan, can he attach the person? No, it's not possible. Attaching the person, we need to feed him also while keeping him in the bank. It's not possible. So, in case of unsecured loan, for the recoverability of the fund, bank can take the legal action on him. I can have the action on you to get my money back. Is called actionable claim. Actionable claim. Actionable claim is also goods. Actionable claim. Okay. What's that? A sold goods to B worth rupees 10 lakhs. So A sold goods for rupees 10 lakhs. B failed to pay this money for a longer period. A can sell this receivables to some third party, probably factor. Now, factor is responsible to collect this money, right? This will be also coming under GST. Transferring the actionable claim. GST is applicable? No, GST is not applicable. Anyhow, we'll just understand. Okay, but it is also actionable claim. This is actionable claim because unsecured liability. And lottery agency A, he purchases the lottery and wins the prize money, say 1 crore rupees. Will A be able to get this from him? Yes, of course. Else he can take the legal actions to recover this amount. Also actionable claim. Actionable claim. Actually, actionable claim is not defined under GST Act. Anyhow, Transfer of Property Act Section 3 defines actionable claim. An actionable claim refers to a claim for a debt or beneficial interest in movable property that is legally enforceable. Legally, I have the rights to get it. Some examples are unsecured debt. Okay. Includes claims to debts not backed by mortgage, hypothecation, pledge. It should not be in the form of mortgage, hypothecation, or pledge. Means unsecured debt. Any other beneficial interest for me on any movable property. Okay. And this will be recognized by civil court. You can enforce this to be collected through civil courts. These are called actionable claim. Right. And the lottery also forming part of actionable claim. Lottery also forming part of actionable claim. Hope you'll be now able to understand. So the actionable claim is also goods. Actionable claim is also goods. Clear? He excludes money and security. Money and security. Then what is called service, sir? Other than goods, including not money and security. For transferring security, any additional fee is charged means that fee will come under services. A, assume that TCS company share currently being 3000, assumed. A sells the shares to B. Okay. And in return, 3000 rupees is transferable from B to A. Now the question is whether TCS share is a goods? No, sir. Services? No, sir. Securities and money will not be goods and services, but it is routed through broker. Okay. For connecting the buyer and seller, broker gets around 10 rupees from A, 20 rupees from B. If there is any separate charge is required or taken by any third party for this transfer, this will be coming under supplier service. And this will attract the GST. This will attract the GST. Clear? Hope you'll be now able to understand. Similarly, what happens in case of money, sir? What is called money? What is called money? Let's see. Money may be cash or even any other thing, DD and other things also. Money includes various instruments used as a medium of exchange to settle obligations, including Indian legal tender and foreign currency. This is INR, Indian legal tender, INR, and forex, foreign currencies, dollar, and those things will also falling under money. Not only that, bills receivables, bills payable, promissory note also money, money order, letter of credit, demand draft, all these things are also be money. Traveler's check, money order, postal, electronic remittances will also be money. Or time being, RBI may recognize some instruments for the payment also be considered as money. So money doesn't only mean the currency. It is not only Indian currency, foreign currency, BR, BP, negotiable instruments, right? And money order, pay order, whatever it may be, traveler's check, even electronic clearance forms, all these things will fall under money only. But if you are collecting the currencies, coins, you may have lots of hobbies of collecting the currencies. 200 years ago currencies are. This is the currency printed in 1995. This is the currency printed with error. Lots of currency collections are there. The currency collection is called numismatic. Numismatic. And numismatic value will be not considered as money. Currency held for numismatic purpose will not be considered as currency. Okay. Probably 1 rupee coin. Okay, 1 rupee coin, maybe silver, printed in 1900s. Today, it may be, say, 50,000 rupees. Who knows that? Maybe 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh. So this will not be money because this money is totally having different value. It's not its own printed value. Then that will not fall under money. That will not fall under money. Currency held for numismatic value will be not forming part of money. Okay. Collectible currency, collectible money collections, currency collections, not used for transaction. I'm just collecting the currencies, not for this one, stamp collection, currency collection. Like now, service. Yeah, services. Services refer to anything other than goods, money, securities. Provided includes arranging transactions in securities. So A transfers TCS company shares to B. For this transfer, broker will be responsible. He demands 10 rupees and 20 rupees, means this will come under supply of services. Okay. And activities related to use or conversion of money from one form currency denomination to another, for which a separate consideration is charged, then also be considered as services. Okay. I have 500 rupees. I am running a restaurant. So where the means the changes will be a problem. Now I give around 500 rupees currency and I want to convert that into 5 rupees coins of 10,000 coins. 500 rupees currency, I give 100 numbers, I collect around 5 rupees coin of 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 coins of rupees 5 each. For that, there is a mediator who helps me to convert that 50,000 rupees into 5 rupees currencies. For that, he charges around 500 rupees. This 500 rupees will be coming under GST. Supply of services. Supply of services. Or 500 into 100 rupees is given for taking 48,000 rupees worth of DD. The remaining 2,000 rupees is the commission for the DD. That 2,000 will come under GST. That 2,000 will come under GST. Okay. Arranging transaction in securities or anything, a separate consideration is charged for this purpose. Okay. Making conversion of currency from one form to the other form, or DD to cash or cash to DD. For that, a small charge is there, means that charge will come under supply of service only. Clear? Hope you will be now able to understand this one. Okay. So movable property, actionable claim, growing crops and grasses and things attached to earth. Money and security will not come under goods, will not come under securities also. Services also, provided for this any additional charges there, means that will come under supply of services. Clear? We have already completed family also. Now, so we started with what? Section 7. Supply includes what? 4 ingredients should be there. One is sale, another one is made now or later, and for the sale there should be consideration. This sale is in the course of business or furtherance of business to attract this being the supply. Right. Exceptions number 1. In case of import of services, business purpose is not required. Rest will be the same. Exception number 1. Exception number 2. Supply without consideration, listed in schedule number 1. Listed in schedule number 1. Asset purchased for the business purpose and ITC is available later. If you are disposing the asset, then it is also supplied, whether you receive the consideration or not. And branch transfers, depot transfer and factory transfers between the distinct persons or establishment of distinct persons, also transfer. Okay. So these are the cases we have studied. And subsection 1A, some cases we have confusions. In case of catering services, food is also serviced, food is also supplied, and a comfort is also supplied. Comfort is service. So food is goods and comfort is the service. But it is clearly stated in case of catering, these two put together, composite services, always considered a service only. Works contract as well as this one. In case of building, building is constructed as per the request of contractee. Now and then I will get some money, and as per his own change, now and then he suggests me, I will construct. Then it is coming under GST, supply of services. Construction is completed, got the completion certificate, then I am transferring. It will not come under GST at all. It's not a scope of supply at all. Is that okay? Now, third part is all about exclusions, negative list, not at all taxable. Usually, any service supplied by RBA or central government or state government is exempted, not taxable. That is coming under schedule number 3. Activities, transactions listed in schedule number 3. Activities undertaken by central or state government or local authorities usually, as public authority, as notified by the government, will be exempted. Central or state government or local authority, as public authority, if they are doing any activities and notified by the government, is excluded. Okay. So what is the called public authority? Police protections. Who can give? Sir, I have, sir, 100 rowdies with me, sir. With that, I will give the protection. Means you don't have the authority to have 10 or 100 rowdies with you. So automatically you are not being the public authority for that. So if you are doing these things as a public authority done by the central government, state government and local authority, for those services, GST will not be applicable. You understand? I'm having life threats, sir. Give me police protection. If you demand police protections from the government, of course, they will give. Okay. With their consideration. For their consideration, GST will not be applicable. Okay. So that consideration will not come under GST because they are doing this as a public authority, and water connection, severages, cleaning the road and light, street light and all. These are the things done by central government, state government, local authority as the public authority's capacity, and those activities are also notified in the Gazette, will be considered as not taxable. And usually the activities or transactions listed in schedule number 3 are excluded. Let's now deal with schedule number 3 here. Schedule number 3. Yeah. Activities neither supply of goods nor supply of services. GST not leviable. GST not leviable. This is a scenario. Services by an employee to employer in the course of employment will not be subject to GST. So employer, employee renders service to the employer as per terms of employment. For that, employer offers him salary will not be taxable. We have already studied this under schedule number 1 also, where employer offers him gift worth more than 50,000 will be GST, subject to GST. Or employee renders some services to the employer not being in the terms of supply, also be considered as supply only. And as per the request of employee does the same activity to employer's personal home or his friend, and GST will be applicable. Those things will be subject to GST. Usually, reverse charge will be applicable. Premature termination, casual workers by contractor, in all these cases, GST is not leviable. In all these cases, GST is not leviable. Provided services to associate company, demanding employee to render service to employer's associate company. For this, a separate charge is there, no? Automatically GST will be applicable. Supply will be there. And apart from that, employee has some special talent. In the last class itself, I told. He has his own personal orchestra team. Employer arranged a function. Rather than booking to third party, he now called this employee to organize the orchestra here. Here, employer and employee doing these activities, the relationship between these two is not employer-employee relationship, principal to principal basis relationship. In that case also, GST is levied. Okay. Now, employee resigned the job. After the resignation, employer offers him what? VRS compensation. Now the question is whether TDS GST will be applicable here. No, no. And employer demands employee don't join to my competitor company for at least 5 years, because you know all the technical know-how what's going on here. If you join there, you will disclose all the things there. So I'll pay you 5 lakhs rupees, 1 lakh per year for 5 lakhs for not joining competitor business. Then it is also becoming under supply for this GST is applicable. For this GST is applicable. Is that clear? See here. Services to associate company are the service rendered by the employee to the employer, not in the employer-employee relationship, but principal to principal relationship. And competing business payment. What does it mean? Amount paid to an employee for not joining a competing business. These things subject to GST. These things are subject to GST. Only these things are not coming under GST. These things will come under GST. Clear? Now, second one. Usually, services by court, tribunals established under any law, High Court, Supreme Court, whatever the services they do know, for the GST is not levied. Okay? GST not levied. Okay. Services provided by any court or tribunal established by under any law will not be subject to GST. District Court, High Court, Supreme Court. These are the examples, right? Exceptions. Exceptions. And this case also usually GST is not applicable. Okay. Exceptions case also GST is not applicable. Functions performed by a member of parliament, member of state legislature, panchayat members, municipal members and other local authorities in their seat capacity. I got elected and now I am being the MP. I am rendering services as being the MP capacity. Whatever service I do will not be taxable, will not come under taxability. Similarly, constitutional post. Any constitutional post is given to some X or Y. Using that constitutional post, if he does any activity, will not be coming under GST. Like the service rendered by the President of India, Vice President, Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, Speaker of Lok Sabha, etc. Constitutional posts. Okay. Government post, right? Duties performed by persons in central or state government or local authority who are not considered as employees. Duties performed by persons, okay, not being the employees, having some post capacity. If they are having that capacity, rendering the services will not coming under GST. And services related to funeral, burial, crematorium, mortuary, death related, okay, funeral, burial, crematorium and mortuary. For all these things are not taxable, not taxable. Currently, tax is levied for, I think, crematorium and burial, I think, okay, currently. Services related to these things. For this, GST is not leviable. Clear? Now, sale of land and building. Sale of land and sale of building. Sale of land is always exempted. Sale of building, because it's immovable property. Building is transferred only after the completion of completion certification. Then it will not be considered as supply. Okay. In case of land and building, it will not come under GST. Exceptions. Sale of building before the issuance of completion certificate is taxable. Okay. Before issuance of completion certificate means I am constructing as per the request of the contractee and as per the changes he requests me to do now and then, I do all the changes and construct by getting the money in installment, then it will come under supply of services. Already we have studied under schedule number 2. And in case of actionable claim, what is called actionable claim? I have the rights to take the legal action for recovery of my amount, any due claim. You have n number of actionable claims. Okay, especially lottery betting gambling. Except these 3, everything will be exempted. It means in actionable claim, lottery betting gambling only will subject to GST. This will be separate. So in case of actionable claim, already told you know, unsecured creditors. Not only that, any due recoverable, okay, from some third party. Probably I let out my property, tenant failed to pay the rent for more than 2 years. Now I have the rights to recover that amount by taking the legal actions. Also be considered as actionable claim. I win in the bet, lottery, gambling. Okay, winning from betting, gambling and lottery. Okay. What about that winning price, sir? If the other person failed to pay, then I can take the legal action to recover from him. All these things are legal, means actionable claim only, especially winning from lottery, betting, gambling, that will be coming under supply of services. So actionable claims, GST is not leviable except for lottery, betting, gambling. That's why I explained that actionable claim in detail in the very beginning itself. But of course, we are not in need of more to know about actionable claim. That will be a part of Transfer of Property Act. But in actionable claim, betting, gambling and lottery will fall under what? Supply of services. Rest will not be coming under GST at all. Clear? So majority cases are over. Now let me proceed all one after one. Okay. So with that, supply concept is over. Some clarification, some practical questions from this topic I am going to cover here. What is a taxable event? Supply. Taxable event is nothing but the event which attracts which triggers the supply and automatically GST is leviable. The point at which it is triggering to pay the GST will be called as taxable event. And taxable event occurs when a taxable person makes taxable supply. Who is called taxable person? The person who registered under section 22 or 24. Okay. What is called taxable supply? Taxable supply is nothing but the supply which attracts the tax under GST. Now, section 7 is all about scope of supply. Point number 1, where 4 ingredients should be there to fall under the supply. One is sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, whatever it may be. Made now or agreed to be made later on, probably hire purchase, where the transfer takes place later on. And for the transfer, you get some consideration. And the activity what you are doing here is for your business purpose. Revenue generating motive should be there. Profit motive should be there. And it may be furtherance of the business also. Furtherance of business is nothing but you can establish a new venture in different location or new product in the same location. Maybe for that, if you are spending any money, also be considered as supply. And transaction between members and entities, provided the entity being non-individual, small associations. The transaction between association and the members for a specific consideration also considered as supply, GST will be applicable. Okay, and exception number 1, import of service. What exceptions? 4 points are there. You forget about this made or agreed to be made. So 3 purposes, 3 things are there. Transfer, consideration and business purpose. The exception number 1, import of services, especially we are talking about import of services. Here, business purpose is not required here. Whether it is for the business or non-business, yet it will be considered as supply in case of import of services. And supply without consideration, you don't get consideration, but in some cases, though you don't get the consideration, yet it will become considered as supply detailed information available in schedule number 1. And schedule number 1A is all about classification. The supply, what I have done now, falls under goods or services, but the classification will have no any importance currently. Okay, whether it's goods or supply of services, whatever it may be, the tax rate may be more or less same. Anyhow, the small clarification is given under schedule number 2. Some supply will be considered as goods, some supply is considered as services. Especially the confusion points being the catering and work contract and building. In case of catering and work contract, there will be some material component as well as comfort component, service component also there. In that case, both will be considered as composite and named as supply of services only. In case of building, usually building is immovable, but building is constructed as per the request of the contractee. Now and then the modification also be incorporated, then it will be forming part of supply of services, services of engineering service, right? And exclusion, this will not subject to GST at all. Schedule number 3, where any services rendered by central government and state government, majority cases, funeral services and employer-employee relationship services and government posting-based services, in those cases, no, those services will not fall under this case. Even in case of land and building, okay, especially in case of building, transfer happens only after the completion of construction certification is received, then automatically it will not come under supply of services. Okay, in case of actionable claim, only betting, gambling, lottery will come under supply, otherwise that will not come under supply at all under GST. And fourth, still I have the confusion, sir, whether it will be falling under supply of services or goods. No problem. Now and then GST Council will give the recommendations as per the government recommendation. Government may intimate GST Council recommendations. GST may note this transaction being the goods or services. Once the government notifies, this will be considered as a service. This will be considered as goods. You have to go with that only. You don't have any confusions. This will be recommended by GST Council. So with that, section 7 concept is over. So we'll go for further discussions here one after one. So we have completed the terms related to sale, transfer and all in the earlier classes. Now we'll go for this one. Illegal activity and prohibited activity. Whatever the activity may be, this will fall under supply of service only. Okay. Then what's the difference between illegal and prohibited activity? In case of illegal activity, illegal, unlawful. Okay. Unlawful, violate the law. Okay. Though it may be violation of the law, falling under supply. Falling under supply. But as you violated, it is punishable. It is punishable. Is that clear? Stolen car. So you purchase a second-hand car and sell the second-hand car. That's illegal. But you steal the second-hand car. It means car and selling that car as you are being the owner. Do you want to pay the GST? Yes, of course. For the sales, GST will be paying. And immediately he will intimate to the police department. He will come and take me to the jail for the stealing. That will be separate. Two separate department will function. Okay, this department charges GST and leaves you. You will be happy. Oh my God, only GST. The next immediately income tax department come and will charge for the income. The next another police department will come to jail. So all the three will come. So this is called illegal activity. Okay, prohibited. Prohibited means selling the drugs. Okay, narcotic drug selling is always prohibited. Okay, if you are involving selling the prohibited goods, this will not be supply. This will not be considered as supply. Only penal provisions will be applicable, punishable and entirely outside the scope of taxation. Okay, explicitly forbidden. Sometimes one word question may be asked using this illegal activity and prohibited. Illegal, unlawful. Unlawful being subject to supply only, GST is applicable. For the unlawful, no, there is a penalty leviable. In case of prohibited, it should not be done. As it is not to be done, it is not coming under GST at all. There is no any provisions in the GST. Selling the second-hand car, will it fall in the GST? Already there is a rule for levying the tax for the what? Second-hand car. There is no rule at all for tax levying for selling the drugs. There is no such rules at all. So it will be considered as prohibited. Prohibited. Hope you'll be now able to understand. Okay. Now, consideration may be payable by third party also we discussed. Mr. A dealer of furniture, delivers to branch office Chennai of XYZ, Delhi. Branch office which is in Chennai. Head office being XYZ, which is in Delhi. XYZ orders and payment is also released. As per the instructions from HO, A delivers the goods to branch office. Okay, delivers to branch office. Is that okay? Payment is also made by XYZ. Though the payment is made by the recipient or on behalf of the recipient, if third party is done, also be considered as consideration. This is also consideration. Maruti Suzuki pays service charges to its authorized agent ABT. ABT Maruti for the service rendered for the customer's car. So, Mr. X being the customer purchases the car from ABT, which is routed through ABT only from Maruti Suzuki. Maruti Suzuki will give 3 free services or 1 year free services like. Okay. Usually if you buy the bike, 3 free services will be there. Similarly, 3 free services are there. So Mr. X now approaches the ABT for the first free service. Free service means it is not done by ABT. Okay. Does and the amount is recovered from Maruti Suzuki. Okay. The service done by ABT for Mr. X at free of cost as per the instruction of Maruti Suzuki, and the service charge comes around 5,000 rupees. This amount is recovered from Maruti Suzuki means the value or the consideration for this service being 5,000 rupees, though it is paid by X or not. The payment is made by Maruti Suzuki only now. For the GST is also recoverable from Maruti Suzuki. Is that clear? Now, import of service. Already we discussed, right? Import of service. In case of import of service, supply even if not in the course or furtherance of business. If you are importing from foreign country. Okay. Certain imports of services are considered supply under GST, even if they are not related to the business activities. Second point. Okay. Or a proprietor hires an architect from USA, architect who is in USA, and he gets the architect service from there. Now that service is used for personal house construction. Okay. Now automatically what happens as per section 7, import of service. What are the conditions should be there? Import of service. Number 1. Number 2. Consideration is there. Number 3. Purpose. Maybe business or personal. Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Then this will be supply only. Then it is supply. In case of schedule number 1 without consideration, yes, no, should be only for business purpose, and one more condition. What is that? Related party. Okay. If these 3 conditions leaving consideration, then it is coming under supply of services as per schedule number 1. You have to connect these two. Already told you in the previous class. Right. Number one, architect service from abroad. Since it's an import of services, qualifies as supply under GST. Tax payable under reverse charge. Usually in this case, tax will be payable under RCM basis. RCM basis. Downloading song for personal use. If you are downloading any songs for personal, if you are downloading from YouTube, okay. If you are being the registered, means probably you may have any payment to do, then automatically consideration is there, no, automatically GST will be there. And supply taxable. Importing digital content for a price, song download or whatever it may be, some documents also you can download. In India, 90% downloading without payment, 90 or 99%. What about you? For the downloading any, sir, all the latest movie also, sir, we depend on Telegram or some other site, sir. So we never pay, sir. Okay. Keep our money within India only. It should not go outside India. Right. Downloading a song for personal use. Accessing free online data. Accessing free. Not supply. Because consideration is missing. Google search for free. This will be OIDR services. You are using the Google search engine. Okay, it's also free of cost. Chat GPT. Okay, there's a premium version. We never go for the premium version. If you go for the premium version, you have to pay and automatically it's a supply. GST will come. Okay. So in case of free supply, not qualify for supply. OIDR service. Usually applicable at final level, not at inter level. You don't need to worry about that. Online information database access and retrieval services. Online information database access and retrieval services. Online information database. All your data is now stored in YouTube. You can access, or whenever you want to download, you can download, retrieve. Those services are provided by YouTube. One example. It's not only YouTube, you have multiple sites also rendering those services. As it is being free, it is not supply. As it is being free, it is not supply. Schedule number 1 completed. Family completed. And distinct persons completed. Distinct persons also completed. Establishment of distinct persons also completed. Any of this example we'll see. A registered restaurant in Madhya Pradesh. There's a restaurant, registered person. Operates an unregistered liquor shop in Pondicherry. They have one more shop in Pondicherry. This is Madhya Pradesh. This is Pondi. Okay. Unregistered liquor shop is there. Unregistered person. Liquor shop records no GST registration. Right. Since the restaurant is registered and the liquor shop is unregistered, they are considered establishment of distinct persons. These two are under the same head. So, whenever the transaction happens between these two, will be falling under supply only. Supply only. He prepares packed snacks item and sends to the liquor shop to sell there at free of cost, stating that, sir, it's my own business. While transferring from one state to the other state, these two are called establishment of distinct persons. Whether you receive the consideration back or not, doesn't matter, it will be supply only. It will be supply only. GST is applicable. Is that clear? Hope now you'll be able to understand this one. Between these two, one must be registered person. If both are unregistered person, it will not come. It will not come. At least one should be registered person. Stock transfers or branch transfers. Always supply. Factory of XYZ Limited in Madhya Pradesh. In Madhya Pradesh, there's a factory. XYZ Limited and its factory. Transfer stocks to its showroom in Tamil Nadu. Showroom. Okay. Also XYZ. showroom, which is in Tamil Nadu. So this will be called as supply only. Different states, distinct persons exist. So definitely it's a supply and also taxable. But the factory and showroom is in Tamil Nadu itself. Factory and Tamil Nadu showroom. Both are in Tamil Nadu. Factory XYZ Limited in Tamil Nadu transfers stock to its showroom within Tamil Nadu. Okay, this will not be a supply, not taxable transfer, because XYZ factory will also have the GST number. The same will be applicable here. In this case, GST number here is totally different, here totally different. Usually GST number, it will be 15-digit number. PAN number plus 5 numbers characters are added further. In that, 2 characters for state, 2 characters for nature, whether partnership firm or individual, such a nature will be intimated. One is for cross-check verification, right? 15 numbers. Every individual person or assessee will have only one PAN, and depending upon how many states he operates his business, he will have multiple GST number. For all the GST number, the PAN number is common. 10 digit is common, remaining 5 digits is totally different. Here, he will have 10 digits common, okay, 10 digits common. And for Madhya Pradesh MP, and another 2 digits and another 1 digit will be addable. This will be common. This will be common. In case of Tamil Nadu, this will be common, but here it will be TN, like, and another 2 digit and another 1 digit will be added here. So you can easily verify whether it is owned by the same person or not by referring that 10 digit. The 10 digit related to the PAN is confirming that he is the same person. And another 2 character represents in which state he is operating. You can easily guess it, right? Hope you will be now able to understand. If he has the GST number being common, then the transfer within those 2 GST numbers, common GST number, will not be transferred. GST will not be attracted. Why? Whether the goods are sold from here or here, wherever it may be, GST is now charged and shared by Tamil Nadu government and central government. But in this case, if the sale happens from here, the amount will be shared. The GST is shared by Madhya Pradesh and central government. And if you are selling from here, the income will be tax is levied and shared by central government and Tamil Nadu government. So naturally, there is a chance to shift the tax liability or burden from Madhya Pradesh to Tamil Nadu. So immediately the transfer is considered a supply and tax is levied while transferring from one state to the other state, because this fellow has the factory enjoying all the facilities in the Madhya Pradesh, from getting lots of subsidy from the Madhya Pradesh government and transferring the goods from here to here and selling here and stating that this is the income related to Tamil Nadu, means Madhya Pradesh will be getting affected. Because of that reason only, if you are transferring from one state to the next state, the moment it is transferred, whether the consideration there is or not, automatically it is considered as transfer and supply. Clear? Now, principal agent relationship. Okay. If an invoice is issued in the name of agent, the principal and agent are considered distinct persons. Principal, agent, and buyer. If invoice is in the name of agent, then the agency will be exist. If the invoice is in the name of principal, then A is only a broker. Only a broker. Example, not being an agent. Mr. A appoints Mr. B procure materials from supplier A, B, various supplier. Now A asking B to get the goods from various supplier and send to me. The invoice is issued by in Mr. A's name. Now the invoice is whose name? Principal's name. Then B will be not called as agent. He's merely, who is he? He's merely a broker, commissioned broker, right? B is not an agent since the transaction is directly under A's name. Auctioneer for bank. XYZ A banking company appoints Mr. B, who is the auctioneer, who calls for that. Okay, you might have seen that auctions bidding, right? 100 rupees one time, and the second time, then the price is shooted up 100, 110, like. So that activity is carried over by the auctioneer. Bidding activity is carried over by the auctioneer. Once the highest bidder finalizes the price, at that price the asset means the goods are transferred to auction goods. The invoice is issued by Messrs. XYZ. So the buyers who are present there can purchase it. But the invoice is whose name? Original owner of the property. Okay. Then not an agent. Not an agent. Clear? I'll continue the delegatory agent in the next class. We'll move on to the next concept here. So I'll try to finish up the next concepts also in this topic. Now, negative list of activities not covered under GST. Negative list. Non-taxable territory transactions. If the goods are transferred in non-taxable territory, not taxable territory means goods transferred or sold outside India. Only within Indian government, Indian limit, Indian government can levy the tax. So that will be called as taxable territory. If it is outside, then it is called as non-taxable territory. Automatically, whatever the transaction happens outside India will not be coming under taxability. Is that okay? Now, what is India? Again, there's a dispute. India also defined here. Okay, and you just have a small idea about India. Landmass, Gulf, and up to 12 nautical miles will be coming under India. We'll have discussion regarding that later on if it is needed. Else, it may be needed for the CMA inter only for customs. For CA, small idea is more than enough. Also given in definition topic, you can go and see. Here, India, USA. If you are importing it from foreign to India, it will land in the Indian port. It will land only in the port. You have to clear the goods landed in the port after fulfilling the conditions for clearances. Okay. So though you import, that will not be brought to your place automatically. It will be available only in the port. You have to pay the tax if it is applicable, customs duty, import duty, whatever it may be. You have to pay all the duty. The moment if you pay the duty applicable for that, then these goods will come to your place. Now, once the duty on that good is paid, this will be then Indian goods. Until that period, it is only foreign goods. Any duty applicable for that is paid and clearances also completed, then it is coming under Indian goods. So it's mixed with Indian goods only. It's Indian goods, right? Until it appears or kept in the port, it will not be considered as Indian goods. Now, A has ordered and imported. The goods is now available where? In the port. It's now A's duty to go for clearances, settle the customs duty and pay whatever the penalty you have to pay and release it. But meanwhile, B demands, sir, I want that commodity, sir. Wait, sir, it is in the port. I have to go and finish up the formalities. I'll release and I'll sell that later. So long it will take. No. Sir, I'm nearby port only, sir. I'll collect all these things from the port, sir. Give me the approval. Automatically, A transfers the bill to B. Okay. See how A proves that the imported goods is for A. While importing, he might have paid the money to the supplier in US. No. He may send a bill, original for the purchaser. The original bill he has to go to the port and show that this is the material I imported, give me. Whatever the tax payable, I'll just pay and the formalities will be completed, I'll take it out. That's how A is now ready with that bill, original copy. Now he simply hands over the bill to B. B can now show the bill to the port authorities and can get the goods released. Clear? Can release. So, if you are getting any parcel, what happens? Give me the lorry receipt. That's how it may be asked somewhere in local, right? Lorry receipt. Okay, you have to give some proof. If you are getting any credit card, show me your PAN number. You are the owner of the credit card. Like similarly, if the goods imported, you have to show that you are being the owner. That's a document. That's called bill, invoice. And B wants that, sir, wait, sir. I have to get it from the port and I'll transfer. Don't get it. I'll just go and get it. That give this document to me. Now B takes that bill and gives the money, and with that bill, B goes to the port and takes the goods delivered. Sale happened or not? Sale happened. Where the sale happened? Before this good becomes Indian goods. Until it is cleared, it is not Indian goods or foreign goods. It is foreign goods only. After the clearance only, it is Indian good. Still, it is treated as foreign goods. Anything, any supply happens before it becomes Indian goods, GST will not be applicable. So, warehoused goods supply before clearances. Supply of warehoused goods before clearances. Clearances means cleared for the home consumption. It may be kept temporarily in a warehouse here. Okay, warehoused goods before clearances for home consumption. A has to clear and bring it his own factory for his personal consumption. He has not brought to his own godown for his consumption. In that case, only by transferring the bill, the goods is transferred, then does not attract the GST. Supply of goods by consignee to the another person through endorsement of the document of the title of the goods. The document. I have to show the document to get the goods delivered. I'm simply transferring the document to somebody else to get the money. You just go and collect. So it's what about transfer by document. Transfer by document, not by delivery. I'm not delivering the goods. I'm just transferring the document. Now you have the rights to go and take it out. Okay. Then this will not be coming under supply. GST will not be applicable. Clear? So warehouse to goods, all these things you'll study at your Customs Act. Transactions as public authority. Already told you, no? Public authority. What is that? Services entrusted to Panchayat under Article 243G, 243W. Rural development, sanitation, public health services, urban planning, water supply, waste management. All the municipality, what they do? Coming for the daily cleaning and severages. Okay, for that they will levy some tax. They are doing all these things as a public authority. Okay, so sir, cleaning done. For this, you have to pay me 1,500 rupees cleaning tax, sewerage tax, water tax, property tax. You understand? For that, pay GST. But this will not be subject to GST because whatever the service done by central government, state government, and local authority, as a public authority, the duty is entrusted to them under Panchayat Act. Okay, under Panchayat Act or Municipality Act will not be coming under GST. For those act, they of course they will demand some payment from you. Okay, underground water, underground drainage. Okay, underground drainage tax is there. For the GST is not applicable. Okay. Now, liquidated damages and GST applicability. Liquidated damages and GST is applicable. If it is purely compensatory, then not supply. Linked to the contractual obligation, GST supply applicable. Okay. Liquidated damages. Liquidated damages is nothing but delay in supply, contractual violation, supplier recipient. Supplier intimates to him, sir, I deliver in 30 days. Supplier delivers when? 35th day. So you supposed to purchase crackers for Diwali. Diwali is 31st day. Supplier confirmed that I will supply a day earlier to the Diwali. But he supplied on 35th day after Diwali, 4 days after Diwali. Then what will you do with the crackers? Huh? Everything is waste only now. Then recipient now demands, sir, everything is waste, sir. No problem, I'll just give the compensation. You order for 10,000 rupees. He says, sir, I'm having no use at all. You can use it for the next Diwali. Oh, one more Diwali. Until that, I'm going to use it. No, it's very tough. What can we do? I will give 3,000 or 4,000 rupees penalty. So this is called purely compensatory for your scenario. Then this 3,000 rupees, will not be considered as supply. GST will not be leviable. GST will not be leviable for the 3,000 rupees. Is that clear? And if it is linked with a contractual obligation, so while levying the contract, drafting the contract itself, that liquidated damage is also included, and consideration is also charged for that, and automatically that will be supplied, and automatically GST will be applicable. Is that okay? Hope you'll be now able to understand what is called liquidated damages. Now, compensatory, not supply. Contractual, GST applies. How can you finalize that is pure compensation, sir? Like property damage and intellectual property infringement, whatever it may be. These things will be falling under compensatory nature. Delayed construction, okay, also be pure compensation. Just I told delayed supply. Delayed completion of construction, for that penalty. Charges for late delivery of houses. Earnest money forfeiture. So while going for the quotations, okay, any order, government order, I may now quote my price. Based on few more prices, the supplier may decide to whom the order may be finalized. The deposit is called earnest money. Sometimes it may be forfeited. Seller forfeits deposits if the buyer breaches the sale agreement. Government or local authority forfeits a bidder's deposit for non-compliances. Bidder. Okay, government may call for the bidders to bid for constructing a campus. In Trichy, they want to construct a multi-story parking space. Okay, maybe to accommodate 200 cars and 400 bikes. And they will call for the bidders. N number of contractors will bid. Sir, I will construct so much of cost. With this 5 crores I will finish. Another fellow will say 5.5 crores. Another fellow will say 4.5 crores. Not only stating that money, they have to pay at least 10,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees as the earnest money, deposit money. Okay. The government, after negotiation and interview, they will finalize this seems to be cheaper, will recommend this one. These two are cancelled. Whatever the bidding money they paid, application money will be forfeited. This will not be supplied. GST is not applicable. Government, local authority forfeits bidders deposit for non-compliances in some cases. That will be, in some cases it may be forfeited. That will be not coming under supply. These are called purely compensatory nature. Okay, damage to property, delay, earnest money forfeiture. These things are purely compensatory, not supply. GST will not be applicable. And second scenario, contractual obligation, late payment fee. Late payment fee. Okay, if you are settling the money more than 30 days, then you have to pay interest for that. For every day delaying after 30 days, you have to pay interest. That will be forming part of the GST. Charges for overdue payments, it's a supply. Transport no-show charges. Okay. Transport no-show charges. Forfeited tickets amounts if the passenger fails to board, also be supplied. No-show charges. I booked a bus ticket. Because of some emergency, I could not travel in that bus. I didn't board. I missed that bus. Will the bus refund the money? The bus company? Definitely they will not refund. So what happens in case of supply? There should be supply, should be consideration. But there is no supply. There is no travel supply, but you get the consideration. Will it be falling under supply? Yes, of course, supply, because it is called no show supply. This is called no show supply. Okay, today IPL match. Okay, you book the ticket. When you go there is a strike and the players didn't turn up. The entire day wasted. Okay, so now will you be able to get the ticket fare back? Definitely not so. No show. So all these things are no show. No show is also supply, and for that any consideration is paid. Also be liable for GST and also forming part of supply. Tour cancellation, early termination fees, loan prepayment penalties. So you borrow the loan and assuring that you will be repay that in fifth year, but suddenly second year itself you want to repay to save the interest. Then banker demands, sir, 5 years. I thought I will get interest for 5 years. Within 2 years, you are refunding, returning the money. Okay, I'll now levy a penalty because we have lots of expenses for inspecting your credibility and all. Okay, if you charge, if the banker charges anything extra, that is subject to GST supply. That is also supply. Okay, so late payment fee, no show charges, tour cancellation, early termination fees, lease contract for 5 years, but you terminate in third year itself. For that, a small compensation is paid. These compensations are contractual obligation. It's clearly stated while contracting. If you fail to board the bus by 9 o'clock, your payment is forfeited, the bus will start run. Okay, as per the contract, you failed and automatically the money is forfeited subject to GST. And no show, cancellation, early termination, loan prepayment penalties. Banker lends you money stating you have to pay after 5 years. If you pay within third year or the second year, you have to pay me 1% or 2% additional than the money amount. That's called prepayment penalty. That will also be subject to GST. That will also be subject to GST. Now, okay. If a charge is compensatory, charges and penalty case. Any charge compensatory, not taxable. If it is linked to a service or contractual obligation, GST applies. Already we have studied, the same is highlighted here. And we will now list down these items also for the clarification. In these cases, GST is not applicable. Check dishonor or fine or penalty, purely penal, not supply. So GST is not applicable. Any legal violation penalty, like traffic fines, law breaches, GST will not be applicable. Employee bond forfeiture. Okay, salary bond amount forfeited for early exit, not taxable. So employer, employee. So while joining the employment, employer demands, give me a bond for rupees 1 lakh. That you have to work for 2 years at least. This is called contract. This employee should be with the employer at least for 2 years. An employer also demands 1 lakh bond. Suddenly, in first year itself, employee is dissatisfied with the employment. He wants to resign. As he resigns, the employer now retains his 1 lakh completely. Okay. So if the employer sends you back or terminates you earlier, then they will give VRS compensation or termination compensation. In this case, if you leave the organization without any gestation period given to the employer, now employer is now in trouble to alternate the person. So he demands 1 lakh to be retained. While retaining this amount, this will not be falling under GST. It's not supply. Okay. So VRS compensation is not coming under GST. Similarly, if you are leaving ahead and the employer gets a compensation, also be considered as not GST, not supply. Fixed power charges. Okay, is also part of electricity supply, which is exempt only. Power is exempt, and these are already we have studied. Okay, some clarification of GST Council. I have to discuss that in detail, not in this class, next class. Before that, I will try to finish up the illustrations. Two aspects I have to cover in the next class: the delegatory commission and GST clarification, and mixed composite and mixed supply in the next class. In this class, we try to finish off the practical questions. Practice question number 1 was already completed. So let me start with the next two illustrations onwards. You can easily answer these questions. These kinds of questions you can expect in your examination. Examine whether the activity of import of service in the following independent cases would amount to supply. Import of service. In case of import of service, what happens? Okay, import of service, consideration and purpose and related party. Yes, maybe business or profession. This is not applicable. This is under what? Section 7. Another one is consideration, business purpose, related party. Okay, here consideration not required. Then this will be also supply under schedule number 1. Okay, let's see. Miss Sriniti Kaushik received interior decoration service for her residence located at Bandra, Mumbai from Mr. Rachel, Sydney, Australia. Okay, the amount paid for the said service is Australian dollar 5,000 rupees. Now, come on, tell me whether it will fall under section 7 or schedule number 1. You can easily check whether there is a relationship or not. Related party, no related party. As no related party, section 7 will be applicable. Section 7 is applicable means check whether there is consideration. Yes, there is a consideration used for business or profession, personal purpose, whatever it may be. So here it is for her residence. Purpose is not a matter, consideration matters. So automatically it's a supply of service. Supply of service. Miss Sriniti Kaushik received interior decoration services for her residence located at Bandra, Mumbai from her brother. Related party. Related party automatically schedule number 1 will applicable. Varun residing in Sydney, wholly dependent on Miss Srinidhi. Spouse, brother, sisters, dependability not required, but in case of brother, sisters, parents, and dependability is must. So here clearly stated dependability is there. Further, Miss Srinidhi did not pay any consideration. So consideration not required, correct? This is correct, but purpose should be business, but here residence. Purpose should be business, but it is personal purpose, so it is not supply of services. Will your answer change if in the above case, Miss Srinidhi has taken interior decoration services with regard to her business premises? Consideration missing, no problem. And business, yes, business purpose satisfied, related party. Then in this case, schedule number 1, this is supply of service. Is that clear? Okay. So when it's all about GST, you can very easily score the mark. If you compare to income tax, this is one of the easiest area where you can score good mark. I request you to complete at least 10 sets of past year's question paper. You guarantee score 60 to 70% mark after the lecture. 60 to 70 mark. Okay. Now, state whether the following supplies would be treated as supply of goods or services as per schedule number 2. Schedule number 2 is all about classification. whether it's a supply of goods or supply of services. A list we have seen. Only three areas, confusing area, composite supply, like work contract and catering in case of building. Rest of the things are very easy, you can guess easily. Renting, service. Renting means service, you no need to go further. Goods forming part of business assets are transferred or disposed by under directions of persons carrying on the business, whether or not for consideration. So, business asset is disposed, then goods. Transfer of right in goods. Right in goods means service. Title of goods means goods. Transfer of title in goods under an agreement which stipulates the property shall pass in future date. Not required to be in current date. It may be future date also, then goods. Temporary transfer of permitting use of or enjoyment of IPR, intellectual property right. Then service. Supply of goods by an unincorporated association or body of persons to member thereof for cash or deferred payment. So, unincorporated association to members, already told you know, non-individual entity to the members, any service is done for that consideration received will also be supply, and that is service only. Supply of goods, no, then it is goods. Any treatment or process means job work, automatically it is service. The goods is applied on higher purchase basis, goods only, so goods. Clear? Next question. Ravi and Co, a CMA firm employer who is representing his employee before IT authority but does not charge any professional fee in respect of the same. What happens here? Employer-employee relationship, but the action carried over by Ravi on his employee's request is totally not as per the terms of employment. So, employer and employee are being the related persons. If the service between these two persons are not as per the terms of employment and the gift worth is less than or equal to 50,000, then exempt. Yes, it is automatically supply of service only. Sir, consideration is missing, doesn't matter. No consideration also will be considered as supply under schedule number 1. Okay. Mr. Raju, an employee, provides his service on contract basis to an associate company of Vikram Enterprises. Vikram Enterprises and Raju. As per Raju's Vikram Enterprises request, Vikram Enterprises associate also gets the service from Raju. The employer-employee relationship is between Vikram Enterprises and Raju, but there is no such a relationship between Raju and associate of Vikram Enterprises. Okay. The above activity is being carried out in lieu of specific monetary consideration. There is a consideration also. Then automatically it is coming under taxable only, but under RCM basis. Who has to pay the tax? Vikram Enterprises. For one service, employee is not compelled to register. So on behalf of him, the enterprise can pay the tax under RCM basis. SSA employer gives Diwali gift worth rupees 75,000 to employee. Up to 50,000 is okay. Beyond that, automatically it is taxable. Is that okay? Now, Gagan Engineering Private Limited, registered in Haryana, engaged in providing maintenance and repair services for heavy steel machinery. For carrying out the repair work, Gagan Engineering Private Limited sends its container trucks equipped with items like repair equipment, consumables, tools, parts, etc. from Haryana workshop to its own repairing center registered under GST law located in the other state. So what they are sending? Equipment sent from one location to the another location for the repair. They are not actually supplying the equipment. The equipment will go and repair will be carried over with the help of equipments, and equipment will be returned. Right. And client's machinery are being brought and are being repaired. So here is a service center. Here is client. His machine is brought to the service center to repair this. From the head office, the equipment is transferred. Now the question is, this transfer of equipment is supply or not? So this is not supply. This is not supply. Okay. You have to discuss in detail. Explain the distinct person category also. These two are distinct persons. Civic clarification states that there is no consideration, So don't answer not supply. Discuss first of all. What are the key terms should be in your answer? Discussion. What happened? And distinct persons. Gagan Engineering Private Limited in Haryana, Gagan Engineering workstations in other states. These two are the distinct persons. If any transfer happens between the distinct persons, consideration is not a matter as per schedule number 1. You have to give that details also as per schedule number 1. The last will be specifically CBIC has clarified any equipment sent for the repair purpose and later the equipment will be backed. In that case, it is not supplied. So you have to note all these 4 points so that you will get good mark, right? Don't say simply not supply, yes supply. Okay. Now, Saravana and Sons wishes to start supplying liquor in the state of Tamil Nadu. Therefore, it applied for license for selling the liquor to the Tamil Nadu government. For it, it has charged specified fee from it. Okay. Examine whether the grant of alcoholic liquor license by the Tamil Nadu government to Saravana and Sons qualifies supply. So, liquor and liquor license both will be not supply. But liquor related any job work is there, no, that will be falling under supply only. Is that okay? Selling as well as licensing for sale will not fall under supply at all. Is that clear? So majority concepts of supply is over. The next class most probably will finish a composite supply as well as some small theory in this. We'll move on to the charge of GST in the next class. Okay.